Hello and welcome to Managerzone's tips and tricks. Today I will show you some basic rules and how to use them for your tactics. To start with, let's check the set place tab. Here you can drag players to make sure they are first in line for the set place. For penalty takers, I recommend to have someone with high shooting experience. This player has 10 shooting, 10 tackle. And from free kick takers, I would assume your midfielders have decent passing and aerial passing, and I would have them as free kick takers. Don't forget to save. Okay, so when this is done, let's see what more we can do. We can have 3 different formations to swap between. We can have some mirror formations, kind of cool feature for club members. For wing players, you can actually have a starting tactics like this, alternative 2. You can mirror it, and after like half the game, you will all actually swap to the other side of the other side when you're attacking, in case they have too many players on that defending side. Kind of cool feature. So down here on captain, you can pick a captain. I just picked my most favorite player. I don't think this matters whatsoever. Linus is my favorite in my case. Regarding passings, you should have a strategy that fits your tactics. In this case, we have wings, so I'm gonna choose wings. We have mentality. You can choose between attacking, balanced, and defensive. You can play around with this if you have some rules later where I can show you where if you are in the lead or if you are losing, you can change to more defensive attacking. But me personally, I'm mostly using balanced here. I think that's just the best choice overall. When it comes to pressing, it's important to know the higher pressing level you have, the more stamina you use. So committed use more stamina than normal, and normal use more stamina than passive. So if you have a high stamina team, you can play more with committed. One rule that I normally do is I add a rule, and I use this feature after X minutes has passed. So after around 70 minutes, I actually change my pressing level to committed always. So I start on normal, but after 70 minutes I change to committed. This means that I try to maximize my players in the end, that they press a little bit harder. I just think I have some extra goals when I do this, so that's something I recommend. When it comes to this tactics rule window, you can press on the gray area to expand or retract it. You can press the pen to change name. And you can also delete it with the bin here on the right. So this actually changed after 70 minutes to committed. Worth to mention, it's the first disruption of the game when it's like a free kick or you get a corner, or that you actually this change take effect. So if you have it late in the game, sometimes the play is so fluent, so your change never happens. Another rule that I really like is when you have your team is losing by at least. And if you take 2 here, it means if you're losing by at least 2 goals, so it can be 3-1 or 2-0, then you can actually use something here, actions. I like to change formation here. So let's say I choose alternative 2. And what I like to do, if I have a wide defense, I want to have like a smaller defense, because this is a defense for wings tactics, and I assume if they do 2 goals or more than me, they do some type of short passing. So what I do on my alternative 2 here is that here I'm actually gonna make a short defense tactics. Something like this. This is not perfect, this is just to show you and say. So what's happened is, like, we start the game like this, and if we for some reason will be losing by 2 goals, because we have a bad defense, we don't get crushed off a wing, because then we're gonna lose even more. But then we swap to this tactics that blocks center plays a lot more than this wing tactics. Okay, another rule that you can have is to change players. If you have somebody with maybe a 7 stamina, I try to play them around 50 to 70 minutes. I think 10 minutes per stamina played, around that. So let's say we find out somebody with low stamina. Okay, do I have any on the field? Okay, so let's say I want to swap this out in around the 60th minute. Then I choose 60th. I want to swap up my number 3. And I want to swap him out for, let's say, my 204. So now my 204 will be my winger after 60 minutes. Okay, so now we come to the most important thing of the whole tips and tricks for today. It's what's happened when you get sent off. You get 2 yellow cards or you get 1 red card. Let's think about number 22. He gets a red card. He got sent off like that. Boom. How will the simulator use your tactic? He will take your lowest number from your attacker, which in my case is my number 1 up here, and dragging down to the positions where my number 22 were. This means I get 1 less attacker but 1 more defender. In this case, as we see here, it looks good. I have wing tactics, and my number 3 can still do a winger aerial passings, and my header can still do some heading. But what if, let's say, this was my tactics from the start, that my lowest number attacker was my winger. My number 2 gets sent off and my number 1 is going down here. That means I have no winger, and my wing tactics will be very much not doing anything basically. And then we even have the worst scenario. It is when you have 2 wingers and your lowest number is your header. This means your wingers have nobody to pass whatsoever, and you will do 0 goals in that game, I promise you that. You can also have another situation where actually we take this, you have some more of short passing, something like this. And in this case, maybe number 3 is your best goal scorer. Your number 1 is your best goal scorer. Maybe you want to pick the worst of your goal scorers to be sent down. So it's important that you have the lowest number on your attacking players on your worst player. Okay, so let's go back to how we started it. Something like this. Okay, so your number 22 is getting sent off. Boom. And your number 1 is going down. Another thing, normally attackers, some of them have the tackling of course, but my attacker only has 5 tackles. For me, I want to have a strong defense, so what I add on top of this is I'm adding a rule. And since I know my number 1 player always will be the one go down, I'm gonna use this function. The following occurs: one of your players receive a yellow card, is injured or sent off. I'm gonna pick is sent off. Then I want to make a substitution. So I want my number 1 to be swapped with my 203 in my case, this player, because he's have 9 tackle. This means when I get a red card, doesn't matter who it is, if it's my number 6, my 10, 22, my 11, my 4, 5 or 8 get sent off, then I know that my defender line will still be strong since my number 203 takes its place. So with this tactics rule, it makes sure I don't get any real weaknesses in the defense. Super nice to have. This is all I have for today. So if you have any suggestion what I should give some information regarding, please send me a message on Managerzone. So bye.